Cards on the table, folks. I was coming up with 10 reasons why Breaking Bad was overrated, but in the Reddit subreddit for why Breaking Bad sucks, there was this comment about Sons of Anarchy, right? And you know what? I'll admit I'm a bit of a Sons of Anarchy fanboy. It's my favourite show of all time. But you know what? When I see something wrong, I'm going to defend it. Because I'm so righteous. So let's just dive into it. And we'll break it down in a wee bit more detail after I read it all out. And I quote, Sons of Anarchy is one of the worst shows I've ever watched. It lasted longer than it should have. I felt like I was watching the same scenes over and over again. There would be multiple scenes where one character would realise there was a huge problem. Then that character would tell Jax, hey Jax, there's something I have to tell you. And most of the deaths in the show were only for shock value. End of quote. Right. So, I just think basically everything about this is ridiculous, right? One of the worst shows he's ever watched. Well, imagine having that fucking opinion. You know what I mean? Honestly, I'm not sitting here on my fucking high horse, but to say that Sons is one of the worst shows you've ever watched is downright fucking ludicrous and lies. And you know what? That's not even a matter of fact, a fucking opinion, man. See, when you actually there's some shows I watch that I think are absolute shite, but they're nowhere near the worst, right? Now, it lasted longer than it should have, right? You look at Sons, did it really last longer than it should have? You know what I mean? I think there's some characters that might have lasted longer than they should have and things like that. But honestly, I can't fault Sons. They never, very rarely gave you a filler episode, man. Every episode progressed the story, so you know what? I think 7 seasons was bang on the money. You know what I mean? The first 3 seasons were great, and then season 4 is, utterly fantastic. The way it sets you up for Jax, becoming president in the final 3 seasons. And so what do you do then? Is Jax only president in 2 seasons? I like the way they did it. I wouldn't have changed the length, right? But the next bit really just fucking, I don't understand. I feel like I was watching the same scenes over and over again. There would be multiple scenes where one character would realise there was a huge problem, and that character would tell Jax, hey, there's something I have to tell you. What in the fuck does that even mean? So hold on, right? They would replay the same scenes over and over again. Like what? What would be the same scenes? Now, I'm trying to be, objective here. What happened for this guy to say the same scenes over and over again? I mean, you do get scenes where they're at chapel, they do votes, they do discuss, you do get, the same characters talking to each other, but you get that in every TV show between like a man and wife, a mother and son. And this whole gimmick of one character would realise there is a huge problem, and that character would tell Jax, hey Jax, there's something I have to tell you. Honestly, when was this done on numerous times, right? As a guy that's watched Sons literally about 10 times, I remember Hale, right, telling Jax in season 1, here Jax, something I have to tell you, I think Clay's the one that ordered the hit on Donna thinking it was Opie, right? Now, when you look across the rest of the show, who goes, hey Jax, there's something I have to tell you, or something along those lines where there's a huge problem? You know what I mean? Like, Clay, Gemma, the amount of lies they tell, they never went to Jax. Just when he rats, never went to Jax. Huge problem I need to tell you. I honestly do not. This is someone that is obviously been offended by Sons in some capacity, or was related to someone or close to someone that loves Sons, and they're just bashing it for like no fucking logical reason. You know what I mean? If you actually want to bash a television show, then you better come up with good fucking reasons, because this here is absolutely fucking ludicrous. Like, oh, I have something to tell you, Jax. There's a huge problem. And then they would repeat it. And let's say a part of that's true. Jax Teller's the president of Sam Crow in the last 3 seasons, right? Essentially runs charming. If there's a problem with that town, right, or a problem with his crew, or a problem with a business deal, they're going to have to come to him. You know what I mean? If his wife's got a problem with something, right, she's going to come to him. If his mother's got a problem, they're going to go to him. And vice versa, even in the earlier seasons, he's VP. If someone in the town's got a problem, they'll go to the club. If someone in the club's got a problem, they might, counsel Jax, get his theories on it, things like that. I just don't understand this fucking comment one bit. And then the last bit, and most of the deaths in the show were for shock value, only for shock value. Like what? Only for shock value. Even like the shocking deaths in Sons, right? Like Donna being killed, that is like a miscarriage of justice. Wrong place, I mean, just the wrong place at the wrong time. That's all that is. Opie getting killed. There's nothing shock value about it. Like who got killed for the sake of being killed? I mean, you could argue Kozik, but they had to write him off, and I thought it actually highlighted that scene with the landmine. I also look at like Gemma killing Tara. There's nothing being done for shock value there. She thought she ratted. Like honestly, it ain't a show that just kills people for the sake of shock value. I feel like every death is honestly good. There's very few, like the deaths that are reactionary are based off those characters. You know what I mean? It's like you could say. I mean, I think an example of a show outside of Sons, like Richie April getting killed like that. I kind of feel like that was for shock value when Janice killed him, but she has a bit of a hothead and the temper gets the best there. Janice and her temper, all that stuff. But yeah, guys, I had to make a fid on this. I think this is the most fucking ridiculous Sons of Anarchy Reddit take I've ever seen. Just this multiple scenes where they would tell Jax, oh, there's something I need to tell you. It's like, oh, the same scenes over and over again. Well, the person doesn't have a fucking IQ. Honestly, what? What are the same scenes over and over again? You know what I mean? I just don't get this. It's like seeing these TV shows about crime where it's like, Power, Breaking Bad to do with drugs, Sons, drugs, guns. I mean, Sopranos has got business deals and all that shit. The Wire. It's like there is always going to be scenes that seem a wee bit repetitive because they're talking about business and percentages and like deals and shit. But I just don't understand this comment. It's ridiculous.